The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last webinar of the week here at Nadex. My name is Todd Rich. I'm part of the education team here at Nadex. And for this session, we're doing an introduction to the Nadex platform. So this is going to be a platform session. With the way the markets have been, we have had an enormous number of new participants in our markets. And we want to make sure that everyone's aware of how all our tools work and what we've got available to help you in your journey trading here at Nadex. And I'm going to be focusing, and I'm even going to be teaching about knockouts and binary options. So we are going to talk about our two core products across our various markets: indices, foreign exchange, commodities. I'll even mention event contracts just because those have been in the news so much lately. But I really want to give you some practical skills on how to use the tools that are available here at Nadex. I am going to be spending some time on the charts and technical analysis. I want to show you as much as I can and help you out as much as I can. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of today's session. I do want to mention up front that this is an interactive session. You've got a little questions function right there on the GoToWebinar console. Please use it. I've got my colleague Sophia in the background, and let's keep her busy. So if you've got any questions, if I'm speaking too quickly, if there's a concept that you didn't quite get, or if you wanted to ask a little bit more in-depth question, please type your question into Sophia. She is an expert with all this as well. And here's access to a resource. So if you want to chat with her, use the questions function. And in fact, it might not be a bad idea. Just make sure I'm coming through clearly. This is over the internet. Hey, let me know that you're hearing us and that you can see what we're doing. That would be helpful. And if anyone is experiencing problems or technical difficulties as we go, I do want to mention, again, this is over the internet. You can often resolve those by refreshing your browser. Sometimes you may have to log back in. And I am going to tell you right up front, this is being recorded. This is being recorded. You will be able to go back and review it. It will be available on our website in the webinars section. It'll be under the on-demand section once we render the video and get it posted. It is also available on our YouTube channel. In fact, I'm going to show that to you before I jump over to the platform. You should subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll catch all of our content, and you can even go back and find things that maybe you have missed and that you wanted to review. Before I jump into the entire presentation, I do have to bring up this disclaimer from our compliance department, and we do like to put this all the way up front. It is important to note, and I'm going to leave this up here so you can read it, but that trading does involve risk, and that all of the trading decisions are made that you make are solely your responsibility. It's actually more important is I am going to be showing you live data today, and I'm going to be showing real examples. I don't want you to construe anything I say today as a buy or sell recommendation. I am doing this strictly for your education. So even though it's a real environment and it's live, I want you to know that this is strictly for your education. Please don't mistake something that I say today as a buy or sell recommendation. Now, as I mentioned, this is an interactive session, so please type questions in, engage with Sophia as we go. But I also like to put this up front. We at Nadex are here to help you. If you have any questions outside of these sessions, need some assistance, aren't quite certain about something, have questions about your account, or want to do a little bit more on maybe a particular product or understanding how some of the charting functionality works just because we maybe went too quickly today, give us a call. Any question, whatever it is, we're here to help you. Give us a call or email us, customerservice@nadex.com. But we want to support you and make sure that you've got whatever you need because we'd like to see you be successful. Uh, and I'm actually going to show you one other way you can reach out to us when I get over to our website because we're really proud of this. We've got a brand new functionality, a chat functionality. Here's what I'm going to cover today. And I do like to do it in this order. If you're not familiar with knockout options, we call them knockouts. In fact, I'm going to probably update the slide because knockouts, it sounds such a more exciting term. But I'm going to go through what a knockout is and how they work, and I'm going to show you. And I think you'll like them. They're pretty intuitive. To me, it's the easiest thing to understand of what we got at Nadex. And the really cool thing about them is it's done in an entirely defined risk-reward environment. So if you're something you wanted to trade and you had an opinion on a direction of something, you can do it and know right up front what you could potentially make as a maximum profit or what you could potentially lose as a maximum loss. So you go into it fully aware. I'm going to do the same thing for binary options and you'll see what the difference is. And in fact, we'll probably spend a few minutes when I'm done going through binaries for you to really understand the price action of those. I mean, there is some incredible price action on our binaries. We'll watch a 5-minute binary happen, and you'll see how the prices of those change, and you'll get the exciting opportunities that are available in binary options. And the whole time is going to be on the platform. And I will use some charting tools. And in fact, I might even pull up a couple of technical indicators and go through them just to help you out if you're not familiar. So with that, I am going to go ahead and switch now. Let me jump over to our website. And I want to make sure that everyone is seeing the website. So hopefully you are seeing that. Give me 1 second. Oh, I'm just taking a quick peek into the questions too, because I'm noticing, because I'm going to work some answers into my presentation. Because I do see a question there that mentioned Greeks, which will be fun. And I also see some questions on stops. So this is going to be great because there's a couple of things right there that I will work into my presentation as we go, for context. So thank you for that. And hopefully Sophia is in the background being able to answer all this. All right, and I am going to try to avoid looking at the questions so that I can stay on topic and cover everything that we want to cover. First up, I mentioned there was some chat functionality. I am indicating with if you could see it in the bottom right-hand corner, you can chat with an expert too. So beyond just calling us or sending us an email, you can use our new chat functionality, which is kind of fun. The other thing that I would like to do before I get into it, because I said I would, is I'm going to go to our Nadex. You know what? I'm going to make this so we can see this a little bit better. Here we go. I would recommend if you aren't familiar, go to YouTube and you can look for the Nadex channel, and you'll find it. I would actually recommend that you subscribe to it so you'll be up to date. One of the reasons I am bringing this up is we just did a virtual education summit. And in fact, I've got to add one more session. It was 2 full days. It was 8 hours of virtual education. You can see 7 of the sessions are up here. The first 4, actually right now it's the first 3 are more the basics, an introduction to binary options. I'm going to be uploading the basics of knockouts, intro to technical analysis. And then I did this session So you might not necessarily need that one if you stick around all day. But then on day two, a deeper dive into technical analysis and some indicators, average true range. I mean, these are great tools. I would recommend that you go back and watch these at your leisure. A knockout strategy we had done with a partner of ours. And then my colleague Dan Cook did an advanced strategy about using multiple binary options at once. So um, if you weren't aware, I just wanted you to know that we do have a Nadex YouTube channel, and if I go back to it, there's plenty of content. In fact, we even put up uh, market commentary daily, and then once a week we do a session if you ever wanted to go back and review it. But there's plenty up here for you to take a look at. Just wanted you to know it was available. All right, enough of that. Let's go ahead and log into the platform in the upper right-hand corner. I am going to hit log in. Now, you are going to see a new Nadex website soon. I think it's cleaner, sleeker, easier to use, and definitely refreshed, which is exciting. We're really excited about our new website that we're going to be pushing out soon. But I mean, there's a lot of changes here at Nadex. We even have a new platform, and I would recommend you use that because we are going to eventually sunset the current platform. So when I land on my login page, you could just log in and you would go straight to the what I'll call the old platform. I am going to be showing you today everything on the new platform. We call it the beta. It will not be the beta much longer. It's going to be our platform, and we're going to be migrating everyone over to this. Again, a much cleaner, easier, more intuitive, simpler experience. And to top it off, the charting functionality is much more robust in what we call beta than it is in the standard platform. So I'm going to go ahead and click join the beta. Now, before I go any further, I do want to point out, if you don't have an account with us yet, I would recommend you open a demo one. Notice in the upper right-hand corner how it says demo. Now, our demo environment is populated with live data. It doesn't always exactly mirror the live environment. So if we see some weird data here today, that's because it is in the demo environment. And if I need to, I'll jump back over to a live environment. But I like doing this in demo so I can actually put on some practice trades. But it's a place for you to practice. You can practice what I'm teaching you and showing you today, and you can get a little bit more familiar with our products. Know that it's not going to be the same experience as live because I don't know who's looking at a demo environment. But when you're in a live environment, for instance, if you put a bid or an offer in between the bid-ask spread, someone might see it and trade with you. In a demo environment, someone might not. So just know that we do have this, and I do recommend, if you're totally brand new, use demo first. We find that people that practice and get comfortable with it and get familiar with how these products work in a demo environment tend to do better when they jump over to the live. All right, now, the way the new platform, the beta platform, is laid out, on the left-hand side, we've got all of our products. You'll notice they're set up into buckets: binary options, call spreads, and knockouts. We also have our workspace. This is where we're going to be spending most of our time. Right now, it's not currently populated. And at the bottom are your position page. I am probably going to shrink that down, but if I do something, I want to show you how an order goes in, and if it trades, how it moves from orders to positions. And you've also got your history up here. But I just want to mention that to you, and you can hide any one of these sections by using the hide function if screen real estate is important, and we're definitely going to be hiding these things. I am currently working off of one screen. We've even added functionality where if you have multiple screens, so that you want to have multiple, say, charts opened up. You can have multiple charts opened at once. You can have multiple order tickets opened at once. A lot of traders will have 2, maybe 3 screens so they can put things out where they like to see them. You don't have to work off of just one screen like I am now. So let's start off with knockouts. All right, and with knockouts, these are weekly contracts. They start at the beginning of the week and they run through the end of the week. And if any one of these products knocks out, and I'll explain what that is in a minute, we immediately make a new one. So there are always 4 knockouts for every one of our products. We do have them in the indices. We have them in foreign exchange, and we have them in commodities. I'm going to go ahead and use, for knockouts, I'm going to use commodities. We have 2 of them, crude oil and gold. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to go ahead and use crude because crude oil has been a very popular product to trade as of late. And I know with the volatility in the oil markets, some other traditional brokers have had problems managing the risk around that and limited what customers could and couldn't do. A lot of times they were putting customers on liquidation only at Nadex because everything's defined risk reward. We can keep the prices up there all the time. When I click on crude, you will see that there are 4 knockout contracts that are available. I am going to pick one of them because it doesn't really matter because this is what I like about our charts. I am now going to hide that. And in fact, I'm going to hide the position so we have some screen real estate. And let's make it so we can see all 4 of them at once. Maybe we can actually zoom that up a little bit. We'll pick a different one. Why not choose this one? And I'm going to slide this down. And you know what? Let's see if we can get a little better glimpse of what's going on. That's going to work a little bit better. And I want to show you what we're looking at. Okay. There. I'm just trying to make it pretty so you can see it a little bit easier and follow along. Again, if you have any questions with this, please, Sophia's in the background. All right, we are looking at a chart of oil, crude oil. Okay, these do trade against the current crude oil futures contract. That is what it will settle to in the end. You can see that this contract expires in 1 day and 2 hours. Now, that we do these weekly, but again, every single time one gets knocked out, we immediately launch another one. On the right-hand side is your order ticket. And the first thing I want to show you is when you're trading a knockout, you are trading the price of crude oil. That's what you're actually looking at. So that's why I say it's intuitive. In fact, if we look right now, the current indicative price, it's here on the order ticket for crude oil is $35.88. And you also see that here on the chart. It's indicated in both areas. So what does that mean for a knockout? So a knockout, when you buy or sell or you trade a knockout, you're trading the actual price of the underlying asset. So in this case, you'll notice that crude oil trading around 35.89 right now, and it's ticking up a little higher. The prices that you see that you can buy and sell are going to be right around the indicative price. So if you think oil were going higher, you would simply click buy. If you thought oil were going, I switched contracts. I want to pick this one. Okay. If I thought it was going higher, I would simply click buy. And if I thought it were going lower, I would simply click sell. Okay, so we are actually just trading the price of the underlying. Now, you'll notice that what a knockout has is a range, and it gives you a floor and a ceiling. So, and it tells you what it is right here. This is the 35.40 knockout contract. You will also see very clearly on the chart, a 35 is the floor and a 40 is the ceiling. Now, what happens with those numbers? What do those numbers represent? And someone asked about stops. Well, this is a way for me to trade oil essentially with baked in stops as a stop loss or as a profit taking level. If I were to buy one of these, all right, I think oil, and we can see right now that oil has trended a little bit lower, right? And maybe I think oil is a buying opportunity. I could buy one of these contracts, okay? And if I'm going to pick, let's round this down to 35.80. Notice I'm putting 35.80 as it continues to trade lower. The reason I did that just because it makes the math easier. If I were to buy one of these at 35.80, all right, and it were to go down and touch 35 even, so it went down 80 ticks, my maximum loss is $80. If I bought one and it went down and touched 35, I chose wrong. I know that I can't lose any more than $80. So if 35 is touched, I would be knocked out of this trade, and that I would recognize my maximum potential loss, $80. I couldn't lose any more than that. Now all it has to do is touch 85, and that would get triggered. Uh, so I do have a stop below. If in the event that I'm wrong and there is no slippage, it doesn't become a stop loss order. And if you're familiar with stop loss orders in other markets, if a trigger happens and you go sell at the market, you don't know what price you're going to get filled at exactly. But here, I know if 35 is touched, I am knocked out, and that's the end of it. Now, on the flip side, if oil does go up like I was hoping it would, and it makes it all the way up to 40 and touches 40, which it did on earlier this week, I would get knocked out of the trade there, but I would get knocked out for my maximum profit. My maximum potential profit is $420. If you notice, these are 5 points wide. The maximum spread of the notional value of a knockout is going to be $500. In fact, I think it's $500 for all of our knockout contracts, with the exception of Nasdaq indices, where it's $600. So you'll notice that the most you can make plus the most you can lose, it's going to add up to $500. So if you bought one, that means someone sold it to you. And so the net of that, it's going to be $500. Now, if you look on our chart, we do, as I mentioned, we have 4 knockouts for every product. And you can see them clearly defined on the chart. So you can choose how much risk or potential reward you want to have for your trade on how close to those boundaries you want to be. I mean, if you thought oil were going to continue going lower, okay, I chose the bottom knockout bracket. I mean, we've come through here. This is the 32.37 contract. Maybe I think oil is going to continue treading lower, and I want to sell it, and we'll pick 35.85. In fact, let's go ahead and put a sell order in here. All right, and I'm choosing 35.85. I'm going to join the offer, and I'm going to place my order. And the reason I do that is I just want you to see orders. In my orders, you can now see that I've got an order to sell one at 35.85. And the reason I also wanted to mention that is you do not have to sell the bid or buy the offer. You can put your price wherever you would like to potentially trade. It's not necessarily saying you're going to trade there, but you can put your order wherever you like. All right, in this case, I'm thinking oil's going lower. In fact, I'm going to lower that. I want to lower it to 35.80. Wow, it just keeps going lower and lower. If I wanted to amend an order, I can simply click on the order, change my price, and let's say I want to drop it down to 35.75. I'm going to go all the way down, and I can amend my order. And when I did that, you'll notice that I just closed it, sorry. And I want to make sure I got everything up here. Okay, there we go. That my order is now 35.75, okay? So that was how you amend an order. I'm going to go ahead and drop that down. Now, what is it that I'm thinking? If I sell one at 35.75, all right, so I think oil is going to continue going lower. If oil were to rally back, if I sell one and it rallies back and it touches 37, the ceiling, right? It's marked here on the chart very clearly. It's also part of the contract. I would get knocked out. All right, I was wrong. I sold oil. I thought it was going down. It actually came back up. My maximum risk is $125. If it were to continue dropping and touch 32, and again, I've got until tomorrow, 1 day and 2 hours. If it went all the way down there, my maximum profit is $35.75. Now, this is probably going to beget the question: what happens if oil doesn't touch either one of the boundaries? All right, if I sold one here at 35.75, and had I gotten filled, and oil kept going lower, I would recognize a profit. In the end, if this thing settles, as long as it settles below where I sold it, I will have some type of profit. Okay, the profit would be the difference between where I sold it, 35.75. I mean, wow, I wish I had sold one, and the price that I bought it back. So if I had actually sold one at 35.75, I mean, look at this, it's dropped down to 35.55. I could have just made $20 if I actually sold that and just bought it back, right? That is an important rule when trading knockouts, and binaries. Just because there's an expiration, yes, 1 day and 2 hours, does not mean I need to wait until expiration to see what happens. If I sold one and it goes lower and it goes my way, I can always choose to try to buy it back for a partial profit. Maybe I'm not looking to make all $375, but maybe if I make $50, $75, $100, I'm prepared to take the trade off for a profit, say thank you very much, and move on. The same goes for a loss. If I sold one and it goes higher and I decide I'm wrong, I chose poorly, I don't have to go and wait for it to go all the way back up to 37 in this case and lose all $125. If it bounced and it was going higher and I changed my mind, I could always just buy it back for a partial loss and make another decision. So when you're trading knockouts, you are trading the price of oil. And you'll see that the bid-ask spread will be right around the indicative price of oil itself. And this is true for gold, and this is true for the indices. All the indexes that we have, same for our FX products, our foreign exchange products. You're actually trading the price, the actual underlying price, and you're making a prediction. Is it going up? Is it going down? Does it go my way? And then, where would I like to take a profit? But whenever you do this with knockouts, you've got clear boundaries around your risk and reward, which is why, again, we have 4 of these. I mean, clearly this one has, if I chose, what level is this? This is the 33.38. If we look over the course of this week, we've actually, when we launched this contract at the beginning of the week, it got knocked out on, oh wait, yeah, here we are, because I'm going to there we go. Here, we could see, I just want to see this week. This is this week. It has touched the boundary. It got knocked out, and and then eventually we launched it again, and it got knocked out again, and then it has bounced through. It actually looks like this 38 is a pretty important level because you can see that it's been one of the boundaries, and here we see oil continuing to sell off. But this is why we offer different ranges for you to choose from, and when it touches one of them. So for instance, it looks like, we'll actually watch here. This 35.40, all right, if this thing continues to trade lower and touch 35, and we'll actually know by the end of the session if it touches it or not. And it looks like, it could. I don't know, we're doing a sell-off here. If it touches 35, this will settle. Anyone who was short it will recognize the profit between where they sold oil and 35. Anyone who bought it would recognize a loss between where they bought it and down to 35. And a new knockout will get published after this one, so there will always be 4 choices. That is knockouts. Now, before we go over to binary options, I would like to show you some cool functionality we have on the chart. By the way, I did mention you can tear off these charts. So if you want to watch multiple markets at once or different binary ranges at once, you can tear off the chart and put it on different screens. And you can actually tear off an order ticket. So you can have a chart and an order ticket for oil on your left screen and the S&P 500 on your right screen, and something else in your center console, and you could be watching 3 different markets at once, or even simply 3 different binary ranges. I mean, every time I click, you notice how it takes away my order ticket. I got to click on one for it to know which order ticket I have. But everything is clearly defined on our charts for a knockout, with the floor and the ceiling clearly indicated. Now, I mentioned I was going to do some charts. We do have, and you can customize your charts. You can set the time frame. This is a 1 hour chart. If we wanted to choose a 10-minute chart, get a little bit closer look at time, and you can zoom in or out. All right. And if I want to zoom in, you can customize your chart so that you can see what it is that you want to see. And you can also scroll. I'm scrolling on the chart, or I'm clicking and scrolling uh, on the indicative prices on the right hand side, so that I can expand or contract. Oops, I clicked off of that. I can expand or contract the height or the of the chart itself. So you can customize it. And you can customize it with the date range that you want to see. Now, what I'd really like to point out are indicators and drawings. I'm going to do a quick little showing here. Technical analysis is very handy tool. When I click on indicators, you will see that we have a variety of technical indicators that you can put on your charts. So, and again, I mentioned some of these from our virtual education summit, things like average true range. If you're not sure what it is, one, you can go to the little eye icon and it will give you some additional information. Two, I would recommend you watch that session. And there, our partner Brian Caprice from Trading Made Simple, or Keep Trading Simple, Keep Trading Simple. He goes through how he uses it to identify potential entry and exit points. Handy, but there are a variety of these types of indicators. There is, if you're not sure about some of these, we also have education with our sister company called DailyFX, dailyfx.com, and they've got education on what all of these are and how you could potentially use some of these different indicators. For instance, moving averages, a very popular indicator. When I click on moving averages, notice how it will populate the chart with moving averages. Here I'm going to click, and when I do that, and I wish it would quit. I like leaving the order ticket up so everyone can see. When I do that, you'll notice that it does give me a moving average down here, a box that I can click on, and I could change the parameters. I could change the colors. I could change how it gets formatted. I can add, if I don't just, I mean, the standard is 20 bar, 50 bar, and 100 bar. If you wanted to pick a specific range or customize it or modify it, you can do so. You simply would apply and it would add it to the chart. Maybe I want 250 in here as well. And I'm going to click 250 and I'll make that fine. I'll leave it as gold. When I hit apply, oh, you know what? There might not even be a 250 range. Oh, because I'm on a 10-minute. So, well, we'll have to play. You'll have to play around with that one. But you can. Oops. I just clicked on closing it. Whoops, sorry. For the sake of time, I want to keep going. Notice how when I clicked on the X, I simply removed it. I could always put it back on. We also have drawings. There are a variety of drawings. If you're looking to draw your own trend lines or your own channels, if you're looking for channels, or a horizontal line for you to choose your own support and resistance levels where you're seeing, here, I'll just pick one and you can kind of, and let's move this back to a 15-minute chart. Wow. There have been places where there were that appeared to be some support and resistance, like as we can see. I mean, this level right here, we knew 38 was sort of a level, wasn't it? When I click on that, it actually draws that line, and you can clearly see, excuse me, that 38 was a level that acted as both resistance here as well as some support. And then, I mean, and it bounced off of it, and you can see 38 was a level, and then we have just broken through that, and it has just been a breakout all the way down. So rather interesting. but you can draw your own lines. And then I'm just going to put one other up here because I know people happen to like this. I'm going to use a Fibonacci retracement. You can see that we're in a downtrend. I'm going to put a quick Fibonacci on here. I'm going to start in the upper left-hand corner and draw it down to here where we just sort of bottomed out. All right. And what you'll see on the chart, and if you're not familiar with Fibonacci, it's a mathematical calculation. It's a pattern that's seen in nature, and in architecture, in science, and people want to extrapolate that into the financial markets. It actually draws levels, and you can see it's kind of crazy. When I just did this from the upper left hand, we're in a downtrend. You could do the same thing if we were in an uptrend, and you would just do it. You'd start in the bottom left hand corner and go to the upper right hand corner. But you can see how this you can see how, and I like keeping our there we go. You can see how at the 23 and 0.6 and the 38.2, it was range bound in a little bit until it broke through. And now with Fibonacci, we would expect it to see it bounce off this, and we may see it come back to this 36, 32 level. And then this may act as a resistance. If it breaks through, these are the different support and resistance levels that you may see. And the market might experience. It's definitely a kind of a useful tool. If other people are looking at it, it's nice for you to be able to be aware that this could potentially help you choose levels where you might want to potentially enter or exit. Again, and I'm going to repeat, not a buy, sell, or hold recommendation. I'm just simply showing you the tools. If you have any questions on that, I hope you're engaging with Sophia in the background. So what I really wanted to show, and I took you sort of through the thought process of a trade, I wanted to show you knockouts. We chose oil, I apologize, oil, how you can see the different knockout levels on the charts, how you can choose the proper one where it's got the floor and the ceiling that would best suit what you're looking to do, your risk reward profile, and what you're looking to potentially get out of a trade. And then how you can use technical indicators or drawings to help you with your decision-making process. By the way, you can customize these even more with what actually gets displayed. Your positions, your orders, there's different things that you can either turn off or on. You can also zoom in or out on any of these. All right, so that's knockouts. I would like to jump over to binaries for a little bit. So I'm going to go back to our markets tab, and I'm going to look at binary options. And we can even go back. I'm just going to click on binary options, and we've got binary options on indices, foreign exchange, events. I'm actually going to click on that when there's for non-farm payroll or the unemployment rates. When we've got these, you would see, is it going to be above this level, yes or no? And you can choose your level. Not as much price action in that, but great. If you had an opinion on what the report's going to be, you can make a prediction. Now let's get into binaries. I'm just going to choose indices for this one just to do something different. And I'm going to choose the Nasdaq, which is the US Tech 100. Notice that we've got time frames for these, 2 hours, a daily contract. For right now, I'm going to choose a weekly contract, and I'm just going to pick a random one here. I'm picking one that's where it's in the middle. I'm going to shrink that away. Let's hide this. What am I looking at with, let's make this a little bit longer time frame. No, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to make it shorter. Let's go 5 minutes. Okay. What's happened? This is a 5-minute chart of the Nasdaq. It tells me that this contract expires in 1 day and 3 hours. And here, while you absolutely need to know the underlying indicative price, the Nasdaq is currently indicating at 97.98, so right around 9,800, and you see that on the chart. Now, here what we've got are a bunch of different levels. I'm going to click on the closest one. okay, which is this 98.10 level. And these are what you're looking at is the probability of this statement being true. Will the Nasdaq finish higher than 98.10 in 1 day and 3 hours? So while I am making a prediction around the price of the Nasdaq index, do I think it's going to be higher or lower? Now, the prices I'm looking at aren't the prices of the index. These are the probability that this statement will be true. So if I looked at the middle of this, and it's right around 45 right now, the market is saying there is about a 45% chance that at the end of tomorrow, remember, at the end, when it settles, and it will settle against the NASDAQ future, that it will be higher than 98.10. Okay, if it finishes higher than 98.10, this contract will settle at 100, meaning 100% it finished above the level. If it does not finish at 98.10, so if it finishes below 98.10, if it finishes 98.10 or lower, the answer to the question was no, and this contract will settle at 0. A binary option, the total notional value of the contract is only $100. Okay, so these are much, and here it's trading lower. Let's just put 40 in here for a second. All right, because that's around where it's trading now. It's traded down a little bit. If I thought it were going to go up from here, okay, we're going to rally. Let's actually put a bid in. Let's put 35. I'm going to go ahead and put a 35% chance. I'm placing my order, and we can see that order. By the way, it looks like my prediction in oil actually got filled, and oil's rallied some. So, all right. Here, I'm trying to buy, and you can actually see my bid right here. And again, this is a demo environment. What I'm saying is I'm willing to risk $35. I think there's a 35% chance it will finish above 98.10. So I think the NASDAQ is eventually going to bounce higher. I'm risking 35. Now, if it does not settle higher than 98.10 and it settle, it will go to 0 and I will have lost my $35. However, if it settles above 98.10 at the end of the day tomorrow, this contract will go to 100 and I will, since I paid 35 and it goes to 100, I could stand to make $65. All right. That is a binary contract. It's a simple yes or no. Is it going to be higher than this level? Yes or no. If I think yes, I buy. If I think no, I sell. Okay. Now, if I sold one at 35, if I actually buy one here, that means someone sells it to me. And I don't know if it's going to trade in a demo environment or not. But if someone sold this at 35, I just want to show you what their thinking is. And if I click on sell, they think it's going to finish lower. They sold it to me at 35. It stays lower. It finishes at 0. They keep the $35 because it goes from 35 to 0. If, however, they sell it at 35 and it does settle, not trade above, settle above 98.10, it would go to 100. They could potentially lose $65. So there's someone else on the other side of the trade. So the total value for a binary option is always going to be 100, and it's a yes or no prediction, and it's the probability of the statement being true. Will it settle? It has to finish higher than the prediction value. Notice when I click sell, it actually turned the chart red on where I would need it to finish for this to be profitable. Because I was actually trying to buy one at 35, as I still am, it shows me where it would have to settle or finish tomorrow in order for this to go to 100 for me to have a profitable trade. Oh, and mine finally traded. I actually just bought it. So I just bought one for 35. It ticked there for a second, and you can now see in my positions that I bought one for 35. Okay? Now, what do I need to happen? I need I need the Nasdaq index to go higher. Now, my maximum risk is 35. My maximum profit is 65. Now, again, just like with knockouts, I do not have to wait until the end to see what happens. I could potentially trade out of this early. If the Nasdaq index were to rally and it were to go up to 98.10, because let's say it was right there at 98.10, because at that point it could either go higher or lower, you would expect the probability to be right around 50-50. 50% chance of it settling above, 50% chance of it settling lower. And if it trades, if it were to trade higher, you would see it. So for instance, let's look at 97.62. 97.62 is below where it's currently trading. It's getting closer to there. But notice how for this one, the probability is above 50. It's a 55. It was just trading around 60. The probabilities will constantly change as the price of the underlying changes. All right. Now, if I wanted to try to sell this one, which I bought at 35, let's say I want to put an order, and if it goes to 65, so for $35, I would take a profit. I can put an order above and say, I want to put one in. I'd sell it above at 65. Okay, I could place my order. It's now an order down in my order ticket. If somehow it were to go higher and the probability went to 65, I would take my profits. I bought it at 35. I sold it at 65. I made $30. So I don't always have to risk. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing proposition. But in the end, it will be an all or nothing. In a knockout, with knockouts, it is not all or nothing. If I buy a level in a knockout and it goes higher and never hits my ceiling, I still would have profit. And it settles, I would recognize a profit, because it would settle at a higher price. If I bought it and it were to go down lower, I would lose money. I don't have to hit maximum loss in my knockouts. Your profit or loss will be based upon where you bought or sold, the price that you bought or sold, and where it settles. But you do have ranges where you would get knocked out if it were to make a move. With binaries, it's all or nothing. This thing will either be 0 or 100 in the end. Now, to show that, I really would like to show, we have 5-minute binaries, and we have 20-minute binaries. So they're shorter. Those are all in the indices. Okay, and if you're not familiar with these, US Tech is the Nasdaq 100, US 500 is the S&P 500, the small cap 2000 is the Russell 2000, and the Wall Street 30 is the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the Dow Jones 30. But we have 5-minute. I mean, the price action on these is really rather remarkable. I'm going to pick one real quickly right now. I'm going to pick the Euro US dollar. I'm going to click one, and I just want you to see. Let's make this a 1-minute chart, if I could do this fast enough. How volatile the price of these can be. All right, so here's our indicative price. Here we go. The indicative price, and this has only got 1 minute and 17 seconds to go. Okay, right here, this is the at the money. Watch this. As the euro trades higher, oh my goodness, this went from around 50-50 to 80. This one up here, which was only 20, is now 50. Oh my goodness, it's look at this. It's now 50-50. All right. This will go to 100. So look how quickly this one down here went to 100 already. This one, as it keeps trading higher, watch this one up here. We still have 45 seconds. Now, in the last 20 seconds, you'll see the prices disappear. Wow, this one, which was just 60, as it's traded lower, dropped way below. And we're watching the price, the indicative price in the dark blue over here on the right. Watch this. This is right around here. This is going to be 0 or 100. And we've got 23 seconds. There it was. I told you they would go blank. The reason that happens is these can move so quickly. But when you want to see price action, we don't know. This one right now, this one right now, it looks like it's 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and there it is. This one went to 0. This one, which you could have sold at 60 30 seconds ago, went to 0. Now, as soon as those settled, we dropped in another 5-minute binary, so 4 minutes and 48 seconds, and you've got new prices. This is right around 50-50 again. There's a smaller probability above 20% for it to get up to this level. And wow, watch this. As we trade lower, this one's around 60%. If the euro keeps euro US keeps ticking down, you're going to look at that. It went down to 40% and it went straight through. This is price action. If you're looking for some price action in 5 minutes, these are the probability that the statement that this will be higher. Remember, and you can click on it. Will this settle in the next 4 minutes and 6 seconds? If it settles above 113.75, it goes to 100. Settles below, it goes to 0. And you're watching the probabilities change in real time. And looks like we don't even have one lower right now. So the next go around, there'll have to be prices even lower. So if you're looking for some price action, 5-minute binaries can be pretty exciting. There we have it. I mean, we covered a lot today. We covered knockouts and binary options. Binary options are the probability that the statement is going to be true. If it's yes and it does settle there, it goes to 100. If it's no and it settles below that level, it goes to 0, and you're trading the probability. And knockouts, you're trading the actual price of the underlying, and you've got boundaries around it to protect you if you're wrong. So stop you out if you're wrong. If you sold it and it goes higher, there's a level where you'll get knocked out and will not recognize any more losses. And it also has a profit goal, and you hit that, you take your profit. And if it doesn't touch either one of those, your profit or loss would be the difference between where you bought or sold and where it settled. And in the end, we do have some great tools that are available to you on our charts with indicators and with drawing tools. With that, hopefully you got a lot out of the session. Again, this was recorded. It'll be available on our YouTube channel. Go follow us there. It'll also be available on our website in the webinar section. You can also see what's coming up if you want to join us for any future sessions. And again, I'd like to put a plug in for our virtual education summit, 8 hours of some great educational content, foundational, the 4 sessions on basic concepts, 4 sessions on advanced ones. And if you need any help, call us. In fact, here, I'll bring that back up one last time. If you need any additional help, call us or email us. Here's our phone number and our email, or use that chat functionality. And please, if you join us, hopefully you kept Sophia busy in the background. And with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and I want to wish you good luck in the markets.